hire, take an example as hire. Okay, so when employee is getting hired in the system, in general scenario, whatever we'll be seeing, what are all the steps that employee will be going under hiring in? Forget about business process, but in general scenario, when hiring an employee, what are the things that needs to be considered when hiring an employee? Compensation has to be provided to employee, right? When employee is getting hired, salary has to be mentioned in the system. Okay, and if employee has any kind of joining bonus or sign-on bonus or any other special bonus, that needs to be assigned to that employee in the system. Okay, and if there are any stocks, okay, if that employee is you know, belongs to director or senior director or president, vice president, and as per the organization policy, that organization has stocks assigned to that employee. So that stocks needs to be assigned to that employee in the system, and uh, making employee to enter all the personal information like ID, identification number, and date of birth, gender, marital status. All these things has to be entered in the system. So that will be performed by an employee because personal information has to be handled by employee. And finally, getting employee into the system. So once all these activities are completed, employee will be completing the hire business process. So whatever steps that I have defined are part of the hire business process. Okay. So when you configure these steps, you'll be seeing employee getting hired after performing all the steps according to the sequence. Okay. Till now you have done a hiring. Okay. So that doesn't have any kind of business process steps. And that is the reason why you are not able to perform hiring. You're not able to see any kind of steps. But in actual scenario, in general scenario, you'll be having a business process steps that will allow you to go through the transaction in a sequence. In a sequence, you'll be going and you'll be hiring an employee. Okay. So business process is nothing but which allows you to execute the transaction as per the order that you have configured. And every business process is whatever you generally see a task in front end in search bar is obviously a business process in the background. Okay, you would have created a position. Okay, you would have created a position, right, with single create position, giving the title of the position, hire date, and all, and submitted. Position would be created. But in the background, there is a business process. Okay, if you wanted to add any steps, okay, if you wanted to add any steps, add any kind of approvals to that one, and if position is getting created, the hiring manager has to approve that one. Until unless approval takes place, position should not be created. Such kind of validation rules you can add in the business process, and similarly, you can write some conditions also. So if position is getting created, if it is great, if it is above vice president, then approval has to be there. If it is below vice president, there should not be any approval. Such kind of things, all validations, all the business process steps, you will be configuring as part of each of the business process that is there in Workday. Okay, so like that, we have loads of business processes that are available under each module. Okay, so what we'll be covering in this business process concept, we'll try to know what business process does and how you can add multiple steps to the business process and how to add conditions to the business process. These are all the things that we are going to learn. And also there is some security will be involving business process security policy, which is one of the area in the security. We'll also cover that security related to business process in this concept. Okay. Before I go to tenant and show you the features and show you the options of the business process. business process are provided by Workday. Okay, you will not create business process as per your own requirement. You need to pick the business process that Workday has provided. Okay, once the business process that you are picking from business process, you can add a number of steps to the business process and a number of conditions to the business process as per your organization requirement. That only you can do, but you cannot create a new business process. So you'll just go to the task called create business process. Create business process definition, default definition. You select this and you'll need to pick the business process from the list. That is the only thing that you can do, but you cannot create any new business process task which is not in the list. You need to use the same which are there in the list. Other than this, you'll not have an option to create your own business process or define something in as per your thing for the business process that you wanted to create. All those things are not available. You can pick
is it the business processes are available after joining the company also, that for example if it is something related to L&D, if it is something related to HR policy, so all the business related are available in this.
Each of the module, L&D, learning, you're saying, okay, HR, you're saying, benefits, you're saying, payroll, recruiting, every module has the business process. Okay. If employee applies to the job, okay, and undergoes interview, assessment, the background check, reference check, and once all these steps are completed, employee will be hired. So all these are business processes that we have in Workday, and every transaction that happens in Workday goes through business process.
Okay.
And when you're actually creating, business process, when you're actually implementing the module, you'll be making a list of business process that are required for you and for your business needs. You'll be identifying the business process and you'll go to create business process definition, pick that business process and make that changes, add steps, add conditions to that as per your needs, and get to that business process, work according to your business requirements. Okay. Now let's say all the business process that we have seen higher and all already created, so you'll not be finding. Once the business process is already created, you'll not find that in the list. Let's say higher business process. Okay, higher business process is already there in the system. That's the reason why you're able to hire an employee. You'll not pick the list. You'll not seeing that in the list because that is already created. And create position also is be already there in the system. Is there? You'll not be seeing that. So all the major business processes that we were discussing, like create position, job requisition, and hiring an employee, all those are already created. You just need to see how those works. The reason why I'm showing here the screen is you'll be getting into this screen to create the business process and add the steps that you wanted to have. Let's say I'll take one random business process to show you how you'll be first doing this. Let me see if there is anything related to HR. I don't see anything related to HR. I'll select randomly. I'm not creating anything. I'll just show you the features and options of the business process. So I've selected a business process called Change Primary Academic Plan Event. Okay. So this is something related to one of the other module that is not as part of HCM, might be something related to student module. Okay. So considering this as a kind of an example for business process to understand. So once you create the business process, you'll be seeing a default business process like this. Okay. So when you wanted to perform any kind of task related to academic plan, since there are no steps automatically, the moment you actually create that academic plan and submit, it will be getting created as how you put done hiring, right? Hiring also will be similar to this. Okay, so let me go to the hiring so that would be easy for you to understand. Other than this, let me go to the hiring business process. So since we have created the hire business process specific to our organization, I'll try to pick the business process that I've created when I hire an employee under organization. Challenge, right? I can add some steps and show you how it executes. Let me go to the employee and house. What is the organization? I think we've created Robert Williams, right? Not Amit. So when we were hiring an employee, the business process that we used, the hire business process, was not having any additional steps that we've added. Okay. So that is the reason why when you were hiring, you were able to instantly hire an employee and get them into the system as part of the organization. But generally, hire business process will have lots of steps according to the requirements. Okay. So might be, you'll be proposing compensation, he'll be proposing some kind of different actions to that one. So generally default business process will be like this. Okay. So you'll be editing the business process definition. taking this much time. Ten 16/2022. Someone has made changes to this business process from effective date of 16/2022, has added these business process steps. Okay, so I'll remove this one and we'll do this again. So if you see the order that we are seeing here, okay, the order that we are seeing here is a kind of sequence how you wanted to have your business process has to execute. Okay, you need to go. You can go with alphabetical order. You can go with numerical order. Anything that you can go, but a sequence has to be defined for each business process. If you are not able to give any sequence or any order number, your business process will throw an error that you need to specify an order of the business process. Once you have that, he'll be mentioning what action this business process step has to execute. Okay, what action this has to execute, you'll be specifying this. Let's say if I add, I'll be giving order B and what type of action that you wanted to perform. Okay, if it's just an action, there are multiple types of actions here. One is action. When you select an action, you need to specify the task on which action has to be performed. An approval on any of the action, if there is any approval that is needed, you'll be adding an approval. Okay, approval chain. Approval chain. When you add an approval chain, you'll be adding multiple security groups that approval chain, and if you wanted to have multiple people to approve in that, you'll be adding multiple security groups and multiple of people will be approving that one. And you have something, you need to remember something here. When you add an approval step here, okay, when you add an approval step, let's say the security group would be something like HR operations administrator. So someone who is part of HR operation administrator has to approve this one. Okay, then this will be proceeding to next step. So if let's say 10 members are there as part of HR operations administrator security group, and if you go with the steps, automatically those 10 members will be getting a notification to their inbox to approve this task. Okay, what is the task? We have not added, but generally in general for you to understand, I'm saying when you add an approval step, all the people will be getting a notification. Okay, and anyone who takes an action on that, the task will be moving to next step. So if you are not selecting all options here, anyone who is part of the security group should be able to take an action. If you are selecting all, okay, if there are 10 members who are part of the security group, all the 10 people should be taking an action. If even one person is not taking,
I mean, if we are create the group which we have selected and we have not unchecked with the all, so by default all the people will get the mail that they have to approve this step. And if I'm selecting the all the people will get the mail that they have to approve it.
All the people should approve this one. If you are not checking this one,
anyone can approve.
Anyone can approve and can proceed to next step. If you are checking this step, everyone who was part of the security group, everyone who has received the notification, they have to take an action.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Mostly you'll be working on this kind of request. An action step. Okay, so you'll be specifying what action has to be performed, whether it is you need to add a probation period or add a compensation. So what step has to be triggered? You'll be defining that. You'll be getting this kind of request from your business. Okay. So where is proposed compensation? Proposed compensation. So whenever you are hiring an employee, the first thing that you need to do is you need to define a compensation for an employee. Okay, what is the compensation that has been offered to an employee? You will be assigning that compensation component to the employee profile in the system. Okay, because you need to know what compensation has been offered. Is that right compensation that is being offered as per the offer letter that has been issued, right? So you will be adding a business process step, propose compensation. Generally here, compensation or HR will be there. And once HR assigns the compensation, it will be going to approval. Approval to generally compensation administrator will be there who will be approving this compensation. Okay.
Amit, we have while hiring any employee, we have a hiring grade for each role designation. Okay. Now, if I'm mentioning the proposed compensation higher, so I want to mention it also if the proposed compensation is go beyond that my hiring grade, it is showing stretch. Okay. And if it is showing stretch, it will go to approval for specific person. So can I mention that thing also?
So every position that hires in the system goes on
Yes.
the compensation range actually. Okay.
Yes.
If you're getting hired under Workday developer, senior developer, whatever range that has been defined for that position, you will be going in that range. So if it is 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs, okay, is the range defined for Workday developer position. The compensation that is been assigned to that employee for that position should be within this range. Okay. So,
but if it is go beyond that range,
you cannot go. You cannot go. You cannot go above the range. If you wanted to go, you need to define new compensation range. Okay. If you wanted to go outside of that 20 lakhs, you cannot assign compensation to an employee within that range that you have configured to that position. So you need to create or you need to update the existing grade. So every position or every job that you create in the system, that will be assigned with compensation grade. Okay. Grade is nothing but range of the compensation. Okay. If the grade is assigned with 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs for Workday developer, your recruiter, when recruiter is discussing with the candidates to make an offer, that compensation has to be within this 15 to 20 lakhs. If it is going outside of 20 lakhs, the compensation grade has to be there and another approval needs to be there. A grade needs to be assigned. If the grade is assigned to 15 to 20 lakhs, the compensation has to be in between this range. If it has to go up or if it has to go down, it cannot be happening once the grade is assigned to that employee. It has to be within that range.
So that range is also I can define in according to my business process.
Yeah, it's not a business process. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Compensation grade definition is not a business process. You create a grade, and if it is for senior developer, if it is 15 to 20 lakhs, you'll assign that grade, and you'll be attaching this grade to job profile. Okay, whatever position that you are getting hired, right? You'll assign that to job profile. I think we have. I think probably when you're creating a position, you shouldn't have selected that option. But when you're creating a job profile, you have an option to select a compensation grade, okay, which actually defines the range of the compensation for that particular job. So you can define however you want. Once that is defined, you cannot go beyond or less of that range actually.
But in our organization now, we generally give whatever the max hiring rate, we provide that more than that amount, and then we need a stretch for that. So that's what I'm checking, that we can calculate the stretch also.
I don't know what stretch that you mean to say, but
stretch means, for example, for one position, maximum hiring rate is 5 lakhs, but we are providing them 6 lakhs. So there is a stretch of 1 lakh money in percentage. Sorry, 1 lakh amount, and there's a stretch more than what is the hiring rate we have. So there's a stretch of cases.
No. So in compensation, there are multiple components are there. Okay. So the base pay is defined as 5 lakhs for that job profile, you'll be giving base pay as 5 lakhs. And if you wanted to go beyond that, there are multiple other components are there. Bonus is there, okay, alliance is there, special alliance is there, sign-on bonus is there. A lot of other components also are there. If you wanted to add extra to that one, you can go with that bonus components and all. But whatever base pay that has been defined under that job profile, the compensation grade, that has to be the same. It should not be more than that. It should not be less than that. It should be between that range or to the top. It is defined as 5 lakhs. It has to be 5 lakhs. If the grade
in
is
our organization, the sign-on bonus is provided. If that is separate one.
No. Just understand the concept I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
It has to go with the grade. You need to define a grade, and the compensation has to be within the grade. Okay. For every job that you create before the position is getting hired, compensation team will be creating a compensation grades. Okay, which are specifically for compensation ranges. Your organization is using Workday or not?
No, then we have an internal tool.
Then that is difference, right? It's not that something has to be compared with Workday. Okay,
but so concept will be remain the same. No? I mean, every organization follows almost.
Every organization system there will be different. Do you have compensation grade profile? Yes. Your organization tool has.
Yes, compensation grade ways.
Where
we have implement every role designation, compensation, max, mini, and if it is go beyond, what is the stretch percentage, and based on that, whose approval is required. Everything we have an internal tool.
So then what is the meaning of the grade that you create if it is going whatever you're specifying?
Based on that, sometimes based on that candidate's profile. So he has a more experience. He has
that I understand. If you are giving 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs as a compensation grade, and if you are offering 12 lakhs as a base pay, then what is the meaning of the grade there? So you are updating your grade, or you are going with the just 5 to 10 lakhs and you are making 12 lakhs as an offer?
It comes from the recruiter. I mean,
no. Anyone. I'm asking the concept. Let it come from recruiter, let it come from candidate. Okay. If the grade is defined as 5 to 10 lakhs, okay, and if you are making a 12 lakhs, what is the meaning of the grade that you have created now?
We want to hire that person. Now that is already have a 10 lakh package. So we have to offer more than that.
Then the position has to be defined, right? If you are actually hiring multiple levels of position, there will be multiple grades you need to create. For senior developer, there will be a different grade. Okay, so if you are high, then recruiter will be looking for the candidate in between this compensation. If 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs is defined, and if you are looking for 15 lakhs candidate, that doesn't make sense, right?
I understand. Yeah, that's right.
So generally, that's how it works in Workday. Okay, so any recruiter who is actually hiring an employee, they will be first checking the job grade and will be looking for the candidate with this salary. Okay, if candidates are not available in this salary and candidates are not getting under the salary range, they'll be coming back to compensation team. We are not getting the candidates for this position between 5 to 10 lakhs. They are expecting 12 to 13. Then the compensation will update that grade from different component to different component. Then that can be, hiring can be taken between this range. But if you are creating 10 to 15 lakhs and if candidate experience is 17 lakhs, if in the same range, if you are going for 17 lakhs, it will not work in Workday. So whatever range that has been defined, hiring has to happen within that range, and as part of promotion, as part of this thing, internally, the compensation grade can change. Employee can be moved from one position to another position to that relevant compensation range. So ranges are very important in the Workday. Within that range, compensation has to be defined.
I can define these range as per my role designation, as per my hiring rate.
Whenever you are creating a position, a job profile has to be associated to that position. When you're creating, when job profile, recruiter will be creating this. You will not create this. Okay. When recruiter creates the job profile with the job description, job level, job classification, and job responsibilities, he also need to mention the compensation grade to that. Okay. So when he defines the compensation grade to that one, let me show you that grade also. So when he defines that one, his hiring should be within that range. Okay. It should not be less than or greater than that range that has been defined. Probably we'll discuss more in our compensation concept, but this is a straightforward thing. So we cannot go beyond the range that has been offered, that has been created for the employee in the system, for the position, not an employee, for the position in the system.
So in future, might be possible that Workday can use this change in give the
no, why you're expecting the change here? Okay.
No, because tomorrow, if organization has changed,
then they need to. The simple concept you're not understanding. If candidate is expecting more, they need to update the range. That's the thing that they need to do. Why you're expecting, without updating the range, compensation can be offered more. It has to be with the range, right? It has to sit within the range. If something has to be offered, then what you have defined, you just update the range. 12 lakhs has to be offered, just update the range.
But sometimes, if I change the range, so it will reflect for every candidate who is going to be that role designation.
Yes, that has to be there.
That we don't want. We just want that a particular person who are offering, who are coming for this role designation. We are offering what we have.
No, those exceptions are not there and will not be considered also, because it's a kind of compliance issue. Compensation is a kind of compliance issue.
No, but we have that. We have a process that they need to take the approval from SOH, service offering head, or VP, AVP, or stretch per basis.
Even here in Workday also, there are approvals for compensation. But all the compensation has to sit within the compensation grade that you have created. Yes. Okay. So if something has to be gone outside of that grade, you just need to update the grade. That's it. Okay. Or create a new job profile to that one and attach a new grade to that. That's the only thing that you can do. Even Workday can do that. Okay. So whenever the position, let's say this position has $6,000 to $8,000, okay, and the recruiter will be taking the same range to the candidate, okay, and the minimum has to be 6,000 and maximum has to be 8,000. Okay, well, maximum has to be 10,000, and in between that you have a lot of segments. It can be 7,000 as a kind of segment, and segment to 8,000. And segment 8 as a kind of midpoint, they can actually quote, and segment 4.9 maximum can be 10,000. If candidate is expecting 11,000 or 12,000, this grade will not suffice for that one, because you have created this grade for Workday developer. For Workday developer.
Okay.
If that position is expecting more than $10,000, you need to come back to compensation team. The candidate is expecting more than 10,000, and it is not sitting under the range that we have created. Then compensation, you might say, upgrade the range from 12,000 max and assign to that candidate. That can happen. But if you are giving 10,000 as a kind of a maximum segment, and if you are offering 12,000, which is not sitting in this range, that will not work actually. Even Workday cannot make this change in future. That does not make sense actually.
But in our company, they have this kind of process.
Forget about a year. Forget about it's not a system that it has to work as how it has to be there as per the other system. Okay. So it will not work in Workday.
In this compensation grade, what is the role designation for this? I mean,
you can create anything. You can create a job profile for Workday developer and assign this compensation grade to any of the things. So there will be a kind of market pay kind of standards every organization will be following. And as per that, if Workday senior developer has market range from 20 to 25 lakhs that compensation team has defined, they'll be creating a senior developer job profile and attach the compensation grade between 20 to 25. So if it is going more than 25, compensation grade has to be updated or stop taking the candidate in that range. Okay, there's a thing that max can happen. Other than that, you cannot do anything. Okay. Because everything is a kind of range that we'll define, and whatever you define here in the employee compensation profile, you'll be seeing that range. Okay, range is not specific to employee; it is specific to position actually. Okay? And position we are creating when we are hiring an employee. Okay? And if there are any kind of exceptional cases, so there are many ways to actually handle those things other than base pay. So you can go for alliance, you can go for bonus, you can go for multiple bonus components are there. You can attach those bonus components and assign that additional compensation that you wanted to offer to an employee. But the base pay that you are defining, it has to sit within the range actually. Okay, I think we've discussed more on this. I think that's a kind of a straightforward concept. There is no change. Even Workday will not take it as a kind of request because that does not make sense if it is going outside of the compensation grade. Okay. Okay. So I was talking about adding the business process and the actions, how you can take, right? Something. Change. So when you create a business process definition, so we'll be adding multiple steps. As I've shown you, you can actually add a sequence and add multiple steps with the different actions, and you can define an approval step. However you wanted to have, if you wanted to maintain an approval step, you can mention the approval steps in the specific security groups. Okay. And this business process has an option to actually trigger some jobs also. Okay. So background check, background check integration will be there, where you'll be developing an integration, and that takes care of sending all the candidate information to external system. Okay. If you wanted to automate that process rather than manually triggering the integration, you can actually attach that integration to business process, and that business process will take care of running that integration in the steps that you have configured. Let's say candidate, if you're hiring an employee, step A, initiate the hiring process, and step B, you'll be configuring the proposed compensation, and step C, adding a sign-on bonus, and step 4, adding a personal change information, and the personal information change has been changed. You'll be adding a step called integration. Okay, and as per the sequence, when the business process is executing, after executing the certain steps A, B, C, D, and in whichever step that you have added the integration, your business process will run integration in that step, and it will be integrating the data from Workday to external system. So business process can also run the jobs, it can run integrations, it can run reports, it can run any other jobs that you will be configuring in the system. It can automate data integration as well. Okay, such kind of things you will be doing whenever you have a kind of integration that has to run automatically through the business process completion step, whichever step that you wanted to have your integration to trigger, after which step you can actually control that in the business process definition. Okay. And here you see right due date. Okay. Whenever you are defining due date as 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, okay, the task, whatever sitting in that particular employee's inbox, will be waiting for 4 days as a kind of due date. Okay, if we are specifying a due date as 4 days, and it will be sitting 4 days in the employee's inbox. If you configure reminders also, you can actually configure reminders to send a note that the task is sitting in your inbox, you need to take an action. Such kind of configuration you can make. And after the due date, after 4th day, automatically, whichever step you have configured for that group will be sent to that manager's manager. Let's say I am configured as a kind of Workday HRS administrator, and I'm not responding within the due date. Okay, automatically, system will take my managers as a kind of next step. After due date, automatically system will send a notification to my manager saying that this has not been actioned from 4 days, and it has to be actioned since it has completed the due date. Okay, automatically the default feature that comes into the picture when it has not actioned within the time. That's about the due date and complete. Okay, you can actually configure complete step wherever you wanted to have. If you wanted to complete the step at background check step, you can actually define that step as complete when you actually mark that complete as yes. Okay, so complete business process steps that you'll be configuring as per your organization requirement. Okay, so your organization, when you're implementing Workday, your business will be giving you a kind of requirement as how you wanted to proceed your business process, whether it is hire or position, or when employee moves from one position to another position, job change, promotion, as how your organization wanted to execute the business process as per the standards, meeting the business requirements. You'll be configuring the business process in such a way to execute properly. Okay, and you can also send a notification on completion. Let's say employee has got hired. Okay, your IT team who actually creates email accounts, who actually creates Active Directory accounts, they wanted to be notified. Or when employee getting terminated, they wanted to remove account from Active Directory system, right? So in order to send notification to that kind of areas, you can actually configure notification. And after completion of hire, if you wanted to send a notification, you can send the notification to whichever group that you wanted to have. You can send to individual email, you can send to DL, you can send to any other email. That notification has to be triggered. Okay, so notification will notify the status of the task. Okay. Mostly any automatic notification that will be requested by business, will be configured in notification staff for each of the business process. So if your HR wanted to know, I wanted to know all the employees who are getting terminated, I need to get an email with the date of their termination, employee name of the who is getting terminated, and their resignation date and their manager's date, their department, all these things HR will be expecting. So such kind of notifications you'll be configuring in the business process notification. From the moment hire completes or the moment terminate completes or terminated triggers, HR will be getting a notification on that.